The Novans, a race of humans who live in a distant galaxy, who are the descendants of the crew of the ancient ship Destiny. The Novans are a spacefaring civilization brought about through a time travel accident that sent a version of the Destiny crew 2,000 years into the past. In the millennia since, the Novans have evolved into a thriving and technologically advanced people who explored and settled numerous worlds through the Stargate. The Novans are 100% human, descendants of the Earth crew of the ancient deep space exploration vessel Destiny. But the Novan civilization is 2,000 years old. When the present-day Destiny crew discovered a colony of Novans, they were in a very real sense meeting their own descendants. This came about as the result of a confluence of unusual circumstances during which Destiny's Stargate accidentally caused an event of temporal displacement, time travel. Eli Wallace became convinced that he could safely get the crew home, and so Colonel Everett Young and the crew took the ship into a star to try and utilize its power to dial the Stargate back to Earth. But dialing the gate in this manner, while the ship was actively recharging its power cells, caused an unforeseen disaster. The intersection of high gravity and subspace shifted Destiny herself 12 hours back in time. And when the crew then tried to use the Stargate to flee to Earth, the wormhole itself was affected by the unpredictable gravity and bent back in time 2,000 years into the past. Since Destiny was not present in that location so long ago, the wormhole connected to a Stargate left by a seed ship on a nearby planet. Now the crew had no ship and nowhere to go. They would have to build a new life on this untouched world. The planet was called Novus, named by Dale Volcker, who originally suggested Novus Mundus, meaning New World in Ancient. Novus included two predominant countries, each of which was based on a distinct political philosophy. The people of Tanara were descended from those who originally followed Colonel Young. In the language of the ancients, Tanara means land of young. Today these people adhere to the Testament, a book of history and teaching identified in some measure with the original settlers. The nation of Futura came from the line of settlers who blamed Eli Wallace for their situation, holding out hope that Dr. Nicholas Rush was still on board Destiny and would one day come to rescue them. Adam Brody was among their original leaders when the Futurans broke away and formed a rival nation in the settlement's early days. With no rescue from Destiny, the crew settled into their new home and made a life for themselves. They built homes and a town. They married and had children. They used a keynote to keep visual records of their lives and the evolution of their settlement from decade to decade. And they taught their children, passing on to successive generations not only stories of the original Destiny settlers, but also their scientific and technological knowledge. The result was that over the course of 2 millennia, the Novans grew into an advanced and prosperous civilization. They created their own cultures, built ships and other technologies, and found cures for ailments that still afflict people on their distant ancestral home of Earth. Towns grew into cities, and ships gained the ability to travel between the stars. The population grew into the millions, and all the while the people of Novus retained deep connections to their ancestors and their values, honoring Everett Young with a statue that stood in the city square, and passing on family names inherited from Destiny's crew. Over time, the Novans used the Stargate to branch out and colonize other worlds, leaving behind traces of this unique culture displaced in time. Then came a profound crisis. At least 30 years ago, Novan scientists found evidence that a rogue black hole was approaching their solar system. As it drew near, it would cause massive volcanic activity, earthquakes, and more, inevitably rendering Novus uninhabitable. With evacuation the only choice, the Novans sent out expedition parties to numerous worlds through the Stargate to try and find a viable new home for their people. One of these was led by Yao Zhu, whose group was meant to establish a colony with the ongoing support of Novus. But when the Stargate on Novus was buried in a lava flow, the colony was cut off from supplies and other support, and Novus lost the ability to resettle its remaining people by Stargate. Yao Zhu's colony had to fend for themselves, with no ships and no other gates in range to reconnect with other colony worlds. 30 years later, the present-day crew of the Destiny found the lost Novan colony in this state. Destiny's crew initially decided that with their own lack of resources, they could not render aid to their descendants. Novus was a week's journey away, with air and food supplies running low, and no guarantee that the Novan homeworld would provide any refuge. They could be flying into a global calamity in progress, or a planet already torn apart by tidal forces. But after alien drone weapons tracked Destiny to the planet, attacking the colony and destroying its Stargate, the crew evacuated the surviving Novans and set a course. When they arrived, they found one of the great cities empty, beneath a cloud of ash from extreme volcanic activity, desolate and hostile to life, not unlike a nuclear winter. While the fragile remains of the Novan civilization still stood, including an invaluable computer archive that held 2,000 years of history and knowledge, its people were gone. Ultimately, the Novans were unable to save their world from calamity, and they used their advanced knowledge and technology to evacuate. Those who still remained on Novus pooled their resources and built great ships, filling them with the last of the colonists who set out for a new homeworld at sublight speed. But with numerous expeditions having been sent to establish colonies, it may be that today the Novan civilization survives across multiple worlds. For more people, places, and things from the Stargate Universe, visit StargateOmnipedia.com. If you want to support Gateworld on YouTube, like this video and leave a comment. Check out this playlist for more videos from the Stargate Omnipedia.